The following is an excerpt from Springtime, a One Piece fanfiction. Isekai self-insert. That's not the sort of thing I would normally read, but no hate, it's all in good fun, and I said I would do anyone who agreed, so here we are. Bellamy POV. I remember the scenes of the show immediately after Ace's release being an emotional high. All the sacrifices, all the struggles, all of it had been worth it. The wayward son was returning to his father's arms, and he was doing it in style. Especially the part where he countered Aokuji's ice pheasant had given me goosebumps. Then, like any fan of the show knew, Oda decided that Luffy needed character development. I had hated it. And now, I had a chance to change that. It was stupid and terribly risky, and anybody with a lick of reason would tell me so. But sometimes a self-insert must do what a self-insert must. Namely, to try and change the narrative. Not to mention that saving Ace was going to solidly put me in the good graces of Whitebeard's remnants. And more importantly, Shanks. The plan was simple. Sneak up behind Ace and wait until Akainu started taunting him. Then, while he was distracted, slap my pair of sea stone cuffs on him and get the hell out of Dodge. A combination of Saru, my coil chassis, and if need be, Sarkis's flight should be enough speed for what I had in mind. Plus, I could probably trust Whitebeard to cover my back. Originally, I hadn't even considered going anywhere near there. But with Kizaru out of the picture, Sengoku temporarily out of commission, and Whitebeard doing much better in this timeline, it seemed like a risk worth taking. Which was why I had made my way ashore with only Sarkis coming along as support. My first mate didn't have to come, but he volunteered, saying that he couldn't in good conscience let me go alone. In hindsight, I should have left him behind. Honestly, I was very touched and grateful for his loyalty and support. However, that didn't mean I wanted him around when Doflamingo dropped by to say hello. "Hello, Bellamy-kun. Fancy seeing you here." He grinned at me. "Aren't you going to say hello? You wouldn't want to be rude, would you?" "Of course not. Good day to you." This was very different from when I last saw him on Water 7. There I had done him a favor, showing that I was a surprisingly useful pawn. That wasn't the case today. "I don't remember teaching rudeness to my underlings. But alas, some never learn. Much like this guy," he bemoaned, lightly shaking the body slung over his shoulder for emphasis. "Just popped by to flip me the bird before running off. Even threw Namor right in my face. Can you believe it?" Though, if he could already switch positions of other living beings, that begged the question of why Law didn't simply switch Dofi with a fish under Okuji's ice, or a chunk of ice. I wasn't picky. Namor, when you had nothing good to say, echoing your conversational partner was always an option. This worked particularly well on people with histrionic characters, who were prone to grandstanding and monologues. Or to put it another way, people like Doflamingo. "One of Whitebeard's commanders. It's very upsetting, you know, to be served such underprepared sushi," the feathered warlord said, making tut-tut sounds. "Though being the helpful man I am, I helped out a little. Plated it all nice before serving sushi on ice to the masses." That was terrifying. And I was not talking about Dofi being able to take Namor out, which I hadn't doubted for a second. Dofi was a solid contender for the title as strongest of the 7 warlords, while Namor had failed to leave a strong impression on me in the show. Assuming that he was average amongst Whitebeard's commanders, his chances against Dofi were hardly going to be better than one of those water buffalo, at most. Additionally, if he was caught off guard by Law's switcheroo, well, game over. What was scary was the way Dofi had lackadaisically described the fisherman's fate. I hadn't seen it, and I didn't want to see it. but it was not implausible that Namor had been literally turned into sushi-sized slices. And I would have expected nothing else. Well, maybe not the sushi bit, but cruelty was right up Dofi's alley. I'm amazing, I know. But Bellamy-kun, his grin just got that little sharper. Is that sass I'm picking up? I'm pretty sure Doflamingo doesn't get sass. Now, this could be taken at least two ways, but the interpretation I was hoping he would choose was that the reputation of Doflamingo was so great that nobody would dare backtalk him, and it would be embarrassing if someone did, because that would mean his reputation wasn't as great as he was claiming it to be. So, let us both say I was not. That I was actually sassing him out need not be said, but in diplomacy it was all about the packaging. You're absolutely right. I don't get sass because I've killed everyone who tried. I.e., I know what you're trying, and that's pretty ballsy of you. Except family. Family is an exception, as you well know. Everyone knows how much Doflamingo values family. Am I still a part of your organization, or are you cutting me loose? Which means you are aware of how I deal with threats to my family. I'm cutting you loose. You neutralized the threat. This was less clear-cut than saying he killed them, leaving me a bit more wiggle room. And he knew this, too, when judging by how his smile widened a fraction. But who could threaten you? The world nobles want your head for killing one of their own. Well, that didn't have any double meanings at all. I'm sure they do. Will you hand me over to them to save your own skin? Don't you hate them? Personally, I applaud you for sticking it to the pompous bastards. I liked it. Really, I did. You stirred up the nest right and proper with so much delicious chaos. Same with your stunt here. Beautifully executed. Absolutely fabulous. Almost couldn't have done better myself. My focus zeroed onto his right hand, the one not holding onto law. But you really are too much trouble to keep around. You know, it's nothing personal. A ray of light, a brief sheen, and my arm shot out to grab a hold of a string before it could connect to Sarkis's head. It's just business, then? I asked, though this was essentially just a formality. I wasn't going to win, but gods, I was going to make him work for it. Exactly, Bellamy-kun. Doflamingo's grin widened further until it was practically splitting his face in half. Consider this your notice of termination. Sarkis swung a fist at me.